Hello everyone and welcome to a rest practice. In this practice we will move through a few poses that help prepare you for a final relaxation pose that hopefully just feels really good to you. It might be helpful to have a blanket and a bolster, although no props are mandatory, they're just things to help make you more comfortable. Additionally, you might want to set your mat up really close to a wall, as one of our shapes will be legs up the wall. In fact, we'll start with that one. Really just grab anything that's going to help you be comfortable and warm. That might be socks, a sweater, an eye pillow, anything that generally feels good to you. And again, our first shape will be legs up the wall. And if it is generally a little bit uncomfortable to have your head rest all the way down on the floor, do have a blanket within an easy, reachable distance so that you can rest your head on the blanket instead. So in order to get into legs up the wall, I'll move my body really close to the wall. So I'll sit with knees bent, my left hip touching the wall, knees touching the wall. And I'm going to do this less than graceful maneuver to get my legs up and my body down. So I'm going to drop down to the right forearm as I lift the left leg up. Same, down to the left forearm, lift the right leg up. And I'm wiggling to face the wall and come down to my back. Now from there, I use my arms, pressing down into the elbows to shimmy my body as close to the wall as possible so the legs are resting on it. They might flop open, they might not. Really, it's about what is the most comfortable to you. As far as the head and neck, on the floor is of course fine. If you prefer to have a blanket beneath your head, go ahead and place it there. You might roll the blanket just a little bit so that there's a bump, well that feels good, at the neck for a little extra support. And your arms can either rest on your belly and your heart, or down by your sides, ideally with palms facing up. And as you stay here with your legs up the wall, we'll talk you into a deeper state of relaxation. So start to feel a softening at your jaw. Let the internal gaze behind closed eyes look down towards the heart space. And allow yourself to feel the full weight of your body supported by the ground beneath you. Start to observe the quality of your breath without trying to manipulate it in any way. Now, very intentionally, ask the exhalation to last a little longer than the inhalation. Now begin to notice where the breath is landing in your body. Does it end at the chest? Does it end at the belly? Is it only up in the throat? Just notice where it naturally lands. that you know where it is, very intentionally ask it to move a little bit deeper. So if it's landing in the throat, watch in your mind's eye as it travels down into the chest. If it's already landing in the chest, watch in the mind's eye as it travels deep down towards the belly. If it's already in the belly, play with keeping it there a little bit longer. Slow, deep, steady breaths. You might start to feel like there are pins and needles in your feet. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. We're going to stay a little bit longer with the attention on the depth and quality of the breath. Feel 3 more breaths move through your body. And we'll exit really very close to how we came in. Bending both knees. Let the knees fall to the right. The body will turn with it until you're in a fetal position on the ground. Sigh out any extra breath there before you push yourself up to sit and return to your yoga mat with a bolster and perhaps with a blanket as well. We're going to move into child's pose or balasana. So for child's pose, we'll come onto hands and knees and open up the knees about as wide as the yoga mat, but keep the toes touching behind you. Sink your bottom back towards your heels. If it starts to feel like you're stuck, you might take a bolster, a blanket, whatever you have, and place it between your legs and your seat so that you can rest on it there. If you have enough room to come back to your heels, you might just put a blanket underneath your feet because it feels good. Take your bolster and hug it in close towards your body. Let your upper body rest down into the support of the bolster. And let's start with the right cheek on the bolster or on the earth. And then just feel out where it feels good to rest your hands. It could be on top of the bolster, it could be down on the floor. Both are good. But as you settle into the shape, do let your eyes fall closed. With eyes closed, insist that there's a bit of softness at your jaw. And again, start to observe the breath more than the thoughts. We're going to stay in this shape, letting gravity do a little bit of magic here, so that each exhale keeps hugging you towards the earth more closely, bottom towards heels, legs resting into the support of the ground. Upper body heavy, soft, slow, stable. And a very subtle shift. Simply switch to your left cheek. When you're settled in, let the shoulders fall back down away from the ears. And anytime you catch yourself lost in a series of thoughts, and you will, it's normal, you're human, simply gently direct your attention back towards your breathing again. Five more very slow, deep breaths. And to exit, you might even keep your eyes closed as you lift your head, press into your hands, and lift the hands and knees. Move the bolster out of your way, and just simply allow your spine to move in any way that it wants to. So that might feel like wagging your tail, some variation of cat and cow, stretching out through the backs of the legs. You cannot do it wrong. It's just any movement that your body is craving here. We will meet seated in about the middle of the mat so that there's plenty of space for you to lie down in just a moment. As we prepare for Shavasana, or death pose, again, you don't need any props, but if you like them to feel a bit more comfortable, we'll take a blanket and put it where the head will go. Put a little roll that creates a bump in the bottom of the blanket, and that bump will go underneath the neck. Bottom goes in the middle, and I'm using my legs to hug in, well, I'm trying, the bolster. So the bolster can go underneath the knees. With bolster under knees, I'll come down to the forearms and put the little blanket tuck under the neck. And from there, decide if these props feel helpful or not, and remove anything that does not make you more comfortable. Stay in this lying down Shavasana shape and let your feet open about as wide as the yoga mat. Now feel a sense of heaviness in the pinky toes of the feet. Like there's little anchors connected to them and the feet fall wide, soft, and open. Allow that softness to travel up your legs and especially land at the inner thighs where any holding is invited to let go. Let that wave of softness carry up to your belly where you let everything soften and be just the way it is. Begin to notice your shoulders and gently tuck one shoulder beneath you and then the other shoulder beneath you. And that tucking will allow for the slightest lift across the front of the heart. Perhaps palms can turn up while the fingers consider unwinding from the center of the hands. Create so much softness at your jaw that none of the teeth touch each other. Lower your tongue down from the roof of your mouth. And behind closed eyes, let the internal gaze look down to the heart as the thoughts begin to soften. Feel a wide, soft space between your eyebrows. And invite your attention to settle right there in that soft spot. And if your mind feels busy, encourage the eyes to look down while the attention attaches itself to the breath, perhaps following that silent mantra that is always living in your breathing, so that each inhale you silently think so, and each exhale you silently think hum. Let the mind continue to repeat that mantra with each round of breath, allowing yourself to go wherever it leads. Very gently begin to notice life at the tips of the fingers, at the tips of your toes. Wiggling the body to bring even more awareness to those endpoints. Let one hand rest on your belly, the other hand rest on your heart. As you turn the feet so the big toes point to the sky and the heels can press down into the earth. One at a time, drag the heels in towards your body until the soles of the feet are on the floor. And there, gently, windshield wipe the knees from side to side at any pace that feels good. And the next time both knees fall right, allow the body to follow, rolling to the right side to a fetal position. Pause there and take a slow, deep breath that might have a sigh out. Push yourself back up to an easy, comfortable, cross-legged seat, perhaps with eyes closed, as we simply sit and feel a few breaths move through the body. When it feels safe to do so, flutter your eyes open to come back into the space. And thank yourself for creating both the time and the space to practice resting. Please know that all of these shapes are always available to you. Legs up the wall, child's pose, Shavasana, as beautiful ways to rest and restore that I hope you will practice again very soon.